Hello everyone, my name is Mouse, and today I would like to show you version 2 of the elevator-based wither skeleton farm that TT and I designed. This farm produces 14.5 skulls per minute, and is the new fastest farm. In this video, I will outline the changes that we've made since our 12.4 skull per minute farm. I encourage you to go back and watch that video as I outline everything else that we use to create these designs. This farm operates the same way as the 12.4 skull per minute farm. Simply come to the top. There will be a lever that will turn the farm on with an indicator lamp. Stand inside of the trapdoor, and you can kill the withers by aiming through this gap and hitting them with your sword. My personal server is an MC Pro hosting Dirt server with 512 megabytes of RAM, and it will run this farm consistently between 14 and 15 TPS. This is down slightly from our previous farm, which ran between 16 and 20 TPS. This farm's speed increase comes from 4 sources. The first is these additional nether brick platforms around the spawning pads. This was shown by Nembon MC to increase the ratio of Nether Fortress mob spawning to pigmen spawning. His video will be linked in the description. Without these additional platforms, our farm produces 13.7 skulls per minute. Secondly, we've included a filter system on the spawning pads that prevents too high mobs from falling into the conveyor system. This reduces their lifetime. Thirdly, we have better fit the spawning pads to the despawn radius to decrease the time that too high mobs need to fall to despawn. Finally, we increase the usage of pumpkins in the conveyor systems to better cover all the withers as they are transported to the player. Here we see a comparison between the old and new slime wiper systems. The old design ran on a 32 game tick clock. However, it allowed too high mobs to fall into the conveyor system. Not only would they have to fall a greater distance, they would then have to wait for the conveyor to filter them out, significantly increasing their lifetime. The new design runs on a 34 game tick clock and includes a filter that was designed by TT that prevents too high mobs from falling into the conveyor system, while allowing wither skeletons to pass through. Due to the push limit, this new design allows for only 64 spaces on a side, while the old design allowed for 70 spaces. Because the filter sorts the mobs before the conveyor system, we were able to add multiple dispensers along its length, dispensing pumpkins, without having to worry about pigmen picking them up. This ensures that wither skeletons encounter pumpkins sooner, and that more pumpkins are available for multiple withers to pick up. It should be noted that the filter is not 100% effective at keeping pigmen and blaze out of the conveyor system, so it is still necessary to sort the mobs based on their height and drop pigmen and blaze outside of the despawn radius. Here we can see the spawning pads laid out for the new farm. Extra care was taken to fit each pad as closely to the despawn radius as possible, and we were able to make significant improvements in the distance that mobs need to fall. In addition, we have added a third module to the second row in order to make up for the lost spawning spaces due to the decreased pad size. Finally, we were able to still fit the first 2 modules within the 4th subchunk, while the 3rd module barely extends into the 5th subchunk. Given the uncertainty of future versions of the game, TT and I will be taking a hiatus from the further development of this farm. However, that does not mean there is not room for improvement. First, it is possible to fit the platforms more closely to the despawn radius. To do this, we would shift the platforms closer to the sphere, and we would take a small hit in terms of spawning spaces, as there would be some dead zones. However, it would reduce the fall time for blaze and pigment in the centermost regions. Additionally, we can shift the upper platforms closer to the sphere. When we do this, every additional block adds 3 game ticks to the travel time of withers falling off the uppermost platforms. However, for every block of fall distance that we remove, it will reduce the blaze lifetime by 10 game ticks. Second, I suggest removing the uppermost row of platforms from the first module. Blaze that spawn on these platforms account for 14% of all the blaze that spawn in this farm. However, they will fall double the distance of any other blaze. To make up for the lost spawning spaces, I suggest adding an additional module to the third row of modules, much like we did in the second row. If you can think of any additional changes that may improve the rates of this farm, please leave a comment below. Based on the trends that I've seen, a fully optimized version of this design would likely produce between 15 and 16 skulls per minute. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions. Leave me a comment or send me a message.